Hello, friends, and welcome to the channel. I'm Handington, and today I'm kind of in the shadows here. I was doing the laundry, so I'll do this over here, so this way we have a little bit better lighting. Anyway, so somebody on one of my recent videos had asked me why on some of my newer videos are comments disabled. Why does that keep happening? Because what'll happen is people will try to comment when a new video goes up, and then they can't because the video's comments are disabled. Why is that? So I actually explained in a whole long, rambly comment just quickly while I was on the train the answer, but I want to make a specific, special video that talked about this because I can't find any videos out here. I can't find anything talking about this because nobody seems to actually have the issue that I have. Most of the time, YouTubers have an issue where they're too adult, they get demonetized, and they have to worry about all kinds of things. And you can see everybody talking about those things. They swear too much, they end up having content that gets flagged as inappropriate, they do a whole heck of a lot of stuff that ends up making them go too adult because YouTube wants a certain balance in between. After the COPPA and everything, they were like, okay, you can't have anything made for kids, but you also can't have anything made for adults. Nothing explicit. But you also can't have anything that seems too much for younglings. So there's a very difficult balance to try and get, and they're very, very secretive about how that works. Apparently they've been getting slightly better and slightly more loose in regards to that, which is good. It takes them a while to get to where they should be, but I appreciate YouTube for actually listening to those kinds of things, sort of, sometimes, and then giving, they at least give a crumb. Most places don't even do that, so we just gotta appreciate the tiny crumb that we actually get back. But what happens with my channel is the opposite. My channel is too safe for work to the point where it gets oftentimes confused with something made for youthz, youth with a z. It's something that a lot of people don't talk about because who the heck is making stuff like this? Apparently, nobody's talking about this. But when YouTube thinks your stuff is too safe for work, when it's the opposite direction of being too explicit, they shadow ban you by making your videos harder to be seen and disabling your comments. This way people can't interact when they will probably see it most, when the video immediately goes up and you have notifications and everything. So I have my comments automatically set to it's a longer word. It's like preview the comments section. It's not allow all comments. It's like hold comments for review in case they are certain kinds of bad words. Because YouTube can also get angry with your videos if they contain language in comments that end up being explicit. So if you go to a video and put a whole bunch of like swears and other bad stuff into the video, then you can end up causing somebody's video to end up randomly getting demonetized. Luckily, if that ends up happening, they do some sort of appeal and it works out, they can then get the video corrected even if somebody puts bad comments. So YouTube is trying to incentivize you to have that setting on where if you put certain bad words, it'll automatically go into a filter and then just disappear. So this way it's not under the video. So I have that set up for some of the basic words and stuff like that because, yeah. Be clever. You'll find some way around it. I like creativity, so find some clever way to be able to get your points across if you have to use words like that. But anyway, so I have just the basic thing set up as the default. So it's not like, oh, you're accidentally clicking on the wrong thing every time you do it, and you're just making this thing up. No, that's not what's happening. Due to everyone not believing me while growing up about, things like my father being abusive and a whole bunch of other things, every so often I end up having a complex where I'm very scared of people not believing me on certain things, while there are other things that I'm just like, I don't care if you don't believe me on this thing. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling mentally that day. But anyway, So no, there's no mistake when I upload it, because I will check, and I've done this experiment before, where right before I was watching, before it automatically goes up, right before it automatically goes up, it'll be set to the correct thing. It'll go up, bam, automatically set to disable comments. I actually had to try that like twice, because one of the videos it actually didn't happen and it actually worked out fine. And I was like, oh, I must be delusional. And then it turns out, nope, it happened again. So some of my videos, and I can never tell which exactly, are going to end up being shadow banned or pushed down in the algorithm, as well as having the comments just disabled. But what'll happen is the video will go up, and they secretly switch it over to having comments disabled. I contacted YouTube about this. I actually was able to get in contact with like a YouTube creator support, and then they danced around my question and decided to vaguely answer like, oh, well, there's no problem with the comments on your videos now, bye, because I had managed to actually turn the comments to the regular setting, even though I had told them that there's an issue where every time I do this, excuse me, it's not every time, every so often when I do this, the comments will be set to disabled. It'll just automatically disable them. And sometimes when it's disabled, I'll be able to switch it right back over, and bam, I only need to do it once I get back to the video, and it's good. And then other times, I'll have to wrestle throughout the first 24 hours of the video being up. Every couple hours, it'll just suddenly switch back. So I'll switch it over, it'll be fine for a while, nothing will happen, then suddenly later in the day I'll check back on it, bam, comments disabled again, and I will have no idea how. Besides, YouTube just has some sort of secret flagging thing on them. So I guess it's something set up where when you turn things to being monetized, actually this happens even on videos that are not monetized, but you'll have like a bunch of things like, oh, does your video have these sorts of ratings and stuff? And if you say, nope, everything is good, and then YouTube automatically checks to make sure that you're saying like, oh, is there any firearm content in this? And you're like, no, there isn't. It'll automatically check to see if you're lying or not. And if you're good, it'll say, yep, you're good. And then it'll have a faster rating to get things monetized. I've pretty much only ever clicked like the video contains no content like this. And I think YouTube has a certain thing where it gets suspicious if you make content that's too safe for too long, and it'll say, "Oh no, you're secretly one of those channels for waddle toddles." I don't even want to necessarily say the word. I said it earlier in the video, but I don't know how often you can say that, because if you say that, I don't know if that'll end up triggering YouTube in order to make them do something like that. But certain videos will end up not being explicit enough, and or not even like just average enough, and YouTube, this is my hunch at least, will just disable the comments to try and kill your video secretly, because you'll be following all their guidelines, but they secretly don't want you to follow all their guidelines exactly. They want you to be slightly more adult, but they can't let you know that. So they secretly disable your comments, and then when you try to talk to them about it, they just act as if, nope, not everything is fine. Or if you say, okay, the comments are disabled, it's like, well, you need to just set your settings to having it be disabled. And they're just trying to gaslight me. And it's like, excuse me, this whole operation is on you. This is what you're doing. So that's what I realized. Oh, they're doing a shady thing again. Just like how videos secretly have ratings, but you're never allowed to see what YouTube automatically sets a video's rating to. So your video could be G, PG, PG-13, R, and then some things that oftentimes will get demonetized, if it ends up being like NC-17, those will end up also having a chance to just be taken off of YouTube anyway, for being too explicit or stuff like that. So you never know exactly what YouTube is going to rate your stuff, but I like to have my channel be PG to PG-13, but I think YouTube sets a bunch of things to G, and whenever it's G rated, I think YouTube gets suspicious, and it's like, nope, disabling your comments, but it doesn't like permanently disable them. If it permanently disabled them, then I'd actually be able to have something to go with. Instead, they're just secretly doing it, just very subtly. Now, this is a much better issue to have than being demonetized, so I'm happy that this is the issue that I'm worrying about. I've only ever had, like, 2 videos get demonetized. It was, like, no, wait. Well, 2 that I can remember. One of them was the joke video where I tricked people and was like, here's a video of incredibly hot people. And the thumbnail was some woman and then some guy. And I put Lancer from Deltarune's face over the buff guy. And the thumbnail got the video demonetized. And YouTube said it was an issue. So I just said, hey, review the video. Because I was very confident that there wasn't going to be anything, because the video is just me and Holly on a radiator saying, we're incredible, this is warm, so we're hot, and we're people. So it was a joke, and they saw it, they just said, oh, sorry about that, there was no issue with this video, we were able to set it back to be correct and everything, and that was very funny. So I actually was able to get an even higher rating for my channel's, like, oh, you set this thing to be incorrect? Okay, you're good, because it was just a joke video. And the other thing that was claimed was Johnny Yes Papa, but, like, if the problem was solved quicker or something like that. That video was demonetized because it was Johnny Yes Papa. Which was just automatically getting claimed because that was a thing that was for kids, so they were like, oh, demonetized, but not for being too adult, for being too much of a kid thing. But they could actually prove it based off of it having the title of Johnny Yes Papa, as opposed to, I have no idea why the heck me, like, saying, oh, the printer, it has a cute little message on it, and then YouTube saying, nope, this message, this is way too safe for kids, bad, but we can't actually ban the video in any significant way, so we'll just secretly disable the comments on it instead. Yeah, so there isn't any, like, concrete reason or things that tells me why YouTube did it, at least with that other one. I know it was like, yep, it was because Johnny Yes Papa was in the title, and YouTube automatically goes after those videos. So that, I totally understood why. And then I just said, hey, watch the video. There isn't anything made for kids in this. It's another one of the joke videos where it's technically, the title is not misleading because you get exactly what it is, but it's like a monkey's paw. I love doing videos that are like that, where you think it's one thing, it's actually a different thing. But it's also the same thing, so you are getting what you get, but it's secret. Anyway, so they actually reviewed that one and gave me the same message where it was like, oh, sorry about that, your video is just fine, it doesn't actually contain any of the stuff there, it's just a joke, got it. And those were the only 2 times where there was ever actually, like, an issue with my channel, where something got demonetized for some reason. And that was it. That was the only issue. The thing that I have to wrangle with most is this thing that happens. So if I upload a video and suddenly there are no comments, or there are comments for a short time, then it gets disabled, I am not doing that. I want people to be able to comment. I want people to be able to say stuff on the videos and be able to voice their opinions. I want to hear what you have to say, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, or stuff like that. But YouTube will just disable it automatically, and I hate that. Luckily, usually with videos, they don't go back to being disabled after 24 hours, so YouTube is just doing that because that's when it's like, oh, that's when YouTube videos will be affected the most. Luckily, what'll happen with some of my videos as well is that people just won't watch it for like the first day or so that it's out, so I'll end up, for some videos, they'll be watched like the second day they're out anyway, and then they'll go back into the algorithm correctly after that, or some videos will end up just working sooner. Every so often when a video has no comments on there, I'll try and comment as Holly, because, like, people won't necessarily go back and check on a video, but a video with 0 comments, or very few comments, will do worse than videos with more comments. But essentially, if a video has 0 comments, it goes into the algorithm acting like, oh, there's no comments on this video, that means no interactions, the video gets canned. The video tries to just get crushed, destroyed, and mangled, and the algorithm will just not have your videos show up. It just won't show up, even if you've subscribed, even if you've notified sometimes, even just in search results, nothing if you have 0 comments. So sometimes I'll just comment, as Holly, because Holly has her own separate channel, which I wanted to do stuff with before, but I've just never gotten around to doing anything with it yet. But sometimes I'll comment as Holly if a video has 0 comments, in order to just be like, okay, here. This is a video that got messed up. Before, I used to comment, hey, YouTube tried to mess up the comments, it's working now, and I would comment myself. Every so often I'll just do something silly with Holly now, just so that this way it'll be a bit more fun. Or sometimes I'll just comment myself saying, hey, comments are back now. Ooh, excuse me. But if a video has 0 comments or comments are disabled, and especially if it's like a short video, I would definitely appreciate if you went back and left your comment later. I don't usually like to try and ask too much for these things very often, just because I find it annoying, but whenever they say like, comment, and subscribe, you really need to do that, or else the videos are not seen. Because those are the only things that matter to YouTube. Doesn't matter how good the video is or not, if you are doing those things, it contributes to the channel. That's why when people would dislike a video, disliking a video helps the video more than if you don't end up liking it at all. Like, my girlfriend will oftentimes not end up liking my videos just because she uses her liked videos playlist as a way to go back and look at other videos. But first of all, you can make playlists. You can make new playlists that aren't just the liked videos playlist. You can add stuff there if you want to look at a video. Just make a playlist, title it Stuff I Want to Remember, set it to private so other people can't see it, and then you can just go back to those videos if you want. Or if you have music that you like to listen to, set a separate playlist for your music, and you can do that. That's really important, because liking people's videos ends up allowing their videos to actually be seen. So if you like a creator and you want their videos to actually continue to be seen on the platform, you need to like videos, or if you didn't end up liking the video, you could dislike the video as well, because what a lot of people don't think, or what a lot of people think is not the case, is that, oh, if I dislike a video, haha, I'm gonna hurt your video statistics because I didn't like this. YouTube doesn't care. YouTube sees that as an interaction, and they go, hey, you interacted with this video, that means it's interaction worthy. So what's so messed up is that if there's a video that's bad and a whole bunch of people dislike it, you're helping the video. Like Logan Paul's So Sorry, people who went there to dislike the video are helping the video to be spread. It hurts the channel more when you don't comment, when you don't like a video, and if you don't subscribe. That hurts the channel far more than disliking or leaving a mean comment. It's mind-boggling how it works, but that's how YouTube works. Which is part of why here's another thank you to Listmiss, who for basically every video comes back and ends up adding a comment to the video, even if it's just a very simple wow, like Owen Wilson. All the time, Listmiss comes by and gives a comment to the channel. Do you know just how vitally important that is to the channel every single time? Do you know just how much Listmiss is just holding up the channel like Atlas holding up the sky? And just how much the channel survives solely based off of Listmiss giving an Owen Wilson wow every so often? You know just how vitally important it is for the channel to not be completely crushed by the algorithm because of that, or when people end up giving likes to videos just every so often. It's so important. So please remember to do those kinds of things, because if you continue to interact with a video, even if you end up giving a like on a video with the comments disabled and I'm not able to get to it in time, that will help the video once YouTube stops putting it in their danger zone list, to be able to be seen afterwards, and eventually it'll be able to show up in like people's recommendeds and stuff like that. So there is a way to be able to get around the shadow ban if people continue to watch it enough after it was after the attempted the quash, the squish. So it is possible to get around it. So if that ends up happening, comment either on a video that you can comment on, saying, hey, the comments were disabled on your newest video, to let me know. Otherwise, I try to get back to it every so often, because part of what's nice about having it be automatic is if I'm in the middle of something or if I'm busy, it'll just automatically go up. So it's frustrating to have to go to the videos manually and then manually set it back, especially if I have to do that frustratingly multiple times throughout the day. It's annoying, but that happens with some of the videos on my channel, and it's a thing that I have to be aware of. So I hope this clarifies things, and I hope if somebody else is making content similar to mine that ends up having this sort of an issue where YouTube sees it as, oh, is it there, you have a hand puppet, that means you're for kids. Oh no, I said the dreaded word. No, I don't know if that'll be an issue or not. Like how YouTube ends up canning politics videos that are like, oh, here's, oh, you know what? Normally YouTube gets angry at you for saying words like this, but I don't want this video to be deemed too much for the pupas out there. So I'm gonna say the YouTube words that I don't actually have an issue with in person, because what's it? A lot of people will think some of the things that I say are like, I don't swear is because of the channel. No, that's how I just am in real life. But there are certain words that I'll try and be careful of because I know YouTube doesn't like them. For example, there are videos out on YouTube that are talking about how bad fascists are and how bad Nazis are. If you say fascist or Nazi on YouTube, the videos oftentimes will get flagged or be demonetized. But if I have an issue where my YouTube videos are too much for the crowd of smaller, new to the world folks, I wonder if saying those will actually help balance out the video. But anyway, there are people who talk about how bad fascists and Nazis are and how much those are actual issues of people trying to secretly add in those kinds of beliefs in politics and stuff like that now, but it's just under different dog whistles. And there'll be videos talking about how bad they are. And YouTube will stop those videos and say, stop it, you're spreading propaganda, you can't do that, it's bad. Because they'll just have the word in there. So a video talking about how Nazis are good will end up being just as flagged as Nazis are bad. Because obviously so. And that'll end up, just being a mess. Luckily, YouTube is had that was one of the things they said, that they were going to try and work on videos, talking about some of these serious, like trying to educate people on why these things are bad, and trying to have those videos be flagged less than people actually trying to propagate those awful, evil things. So, it's just, the automated system, it's going to be an automated system. They need to just work on it a little bit better, because it just ends up flagging so many people. And it's quite frustrating. But anyway, so if you say some of those things, videos will oftentimes get flagged. So that's why I'm okay with saying that there. Because normally I would try and avoid saying those specifically, because they would end up getting a video in more hot water. So that's a thing that I don't have an issue talking about in real life, about how, fascists are bad. But on YouTube, people, not people, the algorithm will just automatically say, oh, you said the word, that's it, it's bad. So I have to be, I have like an extra layer of filtering when doing YouTube stuff, because you have to be careful. But I think apparently I should try and do that a little bit less, because you never know what's going to end up happening. That's why I was able to just post my Let's Play of Hunipop, and there were no issues with it. Just because it's like, oh hey, that helped boost your ratings up a little bit better. I don't think any episodes of Hunipop were shadow banned for being too much for the new life people. So that's pretty cool. So if I want to end up doing a more adult series or playing a more adult game, I could just do that whenever the heck I want to. And hopefully things will go well, because in fact I hope that'll actually help with the health of the channel, because it might be able to boost my rating up to a PG instead, or possibly PG-13, which is what I'm aiming for, because I don't want it to be R, like certain other channels, or even channels that are just fine but end up having some other content on there that's more R-rated, like Game Grumps. I wouldn't necessarily think of them being R-rated, but yeah, technically. But, yeah, so I want to try and hopefully boost that up, maybe? I don't know. I really don't know, to be quite honest. We'll see how things go. But, if there ends up being some kind of thing that's slightly more adult randomly on the channel that I just feel like doing because I'm an adult and I deserve an adult glass, who knows? Who knows what'll end up appearing one of these days, but I have the channel as marked, not for kids, it's not for you, but at the same time, I like to think of it as like the old movies, where even something that's a higher rating will end up still being pretty safe enough for somebody just to be in the room, generally. Or at least comparative to a bunch of other people. But this is an issue that I've faced with, and I hope that if anybody else is having this issue, that you'll finally find a video and go, yes, this is something I've been having an issue with. I have no idea who would have had this issue, though. Who else is having this issue? I feel like I'm literally the only one, because I couldn't even find forums or support or anybody who's been having an issue like this, and I don't know why. Anyway, so I hope this clears up some stuff and helps explain things that are going on. So thank you, friends, but I believe it's that time again. If you like what I do, don't be shy to give a thumbs up. I really do mean that. Please give a like to the video. Please comment. Please subscribe. They all significantly help out the channel. If you think it doesn't matter and you don't do something, that hurts a video. You're actively hurting videos if you don't end up doing anything. You don't like a video that you like. You like a video that you think is okay. Because if you don't, I've said this in another video before, but the way it works is, imagine a teacher saying, I only give hundreds to students who do unbelievable, like, Nobel Prize-worthy work. Otherwise, you get B's, or you get A-, and that's it. I never give A's, or A+, or anything like that. Meanwhile, you know, you get an A or an A+ by doing everything you are supposed to do, like in school. That's how YouTube works. YouTube is the... Like, if you grade things by saying, oh, well, that video is cute, but I'm not going to give it a like because I didn't think it was exceptional, that hurts a video. That ends up, like, pushing the student's average down, as opposed to just giving an A because it did a thing, and it did what it was supposed to do. That's what liking a video does. That's what giving comments and comments does. Subscribing makes you more inclined to end up seeing that channel, so it's a little bit different than liking a video or commenting. But you should really interact with a video if you see it and you're like, this video is worth interacting. Because you don't interact with a video that's like, a screaming kid runs into your yard, and it's like the whole video, and it's not something that's funny. But I actually know that's hilarious. Anyway, it would be something like, I don't know, some video that you just feels like it will give you no value at all. That's something that you don't interact with. You watch a thing and you're like, nope, and then you just leave. That's how YouTube works. If you dislike a video, then YouTube will be like, ooh, people find this video to be spicy. They don't like it. And then people click on it a whole bunch, which is one of the other things that kind of helps YouTube by removing the dislike button. Now people can't see if a video is not worth watching by having it be clickbait or something that's an actual issue by seeing a whole bunch of dislikes. If people get angry at a video, then it adds comments, it adds watch time, it adds people going to something for outrage, and they realize that they can profit off that. Just like YouTube probably looked at what Facebook had done, where Facebook made billions because of people outraged by things that made them angry. So, like, be careful when disliking a video, because pretty much YouTube disliking a video, it helps if like a creator did something that people genuinely aren't happy about, and then this way it gives you a bit of the person who made it a little bit of feedback. That's basically the only thing that dislikes do now, because it doesn't end up helping anybody anymore now that dislikes are gone. To help people be like, oh hey, here are dislikes, now I know whether this video is good or not. And dislikes were always super useful. Again, on videos with like fascists, or things that were like talking about how bad fascists are, you'd see so many dislikes, and people who would defend it and be like, wow, this is terrifying, just how many people there are out there. It's eye-opening, it's awakening to be like, this is an actual issue that we need to work on, because there are people out there who genuinely, actively support these kinds of things. And it's amazing just how much the automated system will stop people from saying how bad it is, just as equally. So that's why people would promote their Patreons to say, hey, if you want this stuff to happen, YouTube is trying to crush it, we need to get together and support this kind of stuff actively. So you'll get something like, there's plenty of other channels. There's just plenty of channels out there that I would recommend, like H-Bomber Guy, Sean, Solari, ContraPoints. There's so many channels out there that have their videos just crushed by talking about serious things. Philosophy Tube, so many really great creators that have to survive off Patreon because YouTube will just crush their content, even though it's just some of the best stuff out there. But they'll say the words that YouTube is like, nope, you can't say them at all, and yet people like Joe Rogan are able to stay up on YouTube, and it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how much the system ends up being messed up. Nerd City made another really good video talking about how oftentimes the bots will end up being created, or a lot of the algorithm will be trained by, the kinds of people who like that kind of stuff. So it'll oftentimes end up getting flagged, which is why it's so important to make sure to let your voice be heard. If you see ads that are like spreading propaganda, report them. I've had to report a whole bunch of ads out there that end up spreading like serious misinformation. There are anti-vax ads that play on videos, and I've had to make sure to report them. If you see something like that, go out there, report it. You see the scams of people pretending to be Mr. Beast? Go out there, report it. You need to do these kinds of things, because if you don't push, it won't happen. You need to be the change that you want to see in the world, because if you do nothing, that's even worse than if you did something to try and destroy. Kind of works that way in the world, but also just it kind of works that way on YouTube, but also kind of in the world. So that's my thoughts. That's everything that I have to say. This video went a lot longer than I had expected. So, ciao, bye.